Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to NS9 Live. I'm your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me, we have Ty, and we have a special guest today, not Jim. So it makes for a great show tonight. But joining us is from DK Pittsburgh Sports, Jose Negron. What's up, Jose?
What's up, guys? Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
The debut.
The debut. Yeah, I think the only thing I did was last year at the winter meetings. I think I did one thing with Jim, but yeah, first time on a show, so I'm excited.
Tyler's debut.
Okay.
There it is.
I mean, like, we tried to get Jose last week, but Colin's calling. You gotta have him on.
You gotta appease Colin.
Yeah, I mean, or else he's gonna whine too much. So
right.
So thankfully, Jose was a nice enough person to let Colin go first. And then
I let Colin go first, let him have his time in the spotlight, and then I was like, you know what, I'll wait my turn.
Yeah, remember how you had to push back on me, or you pushed back a little bit on something last week, Tyler? I got to push back here. No, I'm tired of like this. Like, why are we trying to uplift Jose and not just remember how he's ghosted us like how many times? He's been invited on the show. Oh, yeah, I'll come. Oh, sorry, I can't come make it now.
It's maybe been like twice.
Twice.
Sometimes
12 times, it doesn't matter.
Sometimes duty calls for a Duquesne basketball game, and you just gotta appease the people, man.
Yeah, mind you, Duquesne basketball game. That was how many months ago?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a while ago. Yeah,
it's okay. We know.
Hey, it's all in the past. We're looking at the present.
Yeah, I don't remember that. I don't remember that at all.
Thank you, Tyler.
I got you.
That works. But anyways, yeah, we have you join us. You had a nice little article come out a few weeks ago. Actually, I think it's last week, right?
Last week, yeah.
Has it even been a week?
I don't think it's been a week. I think it's been like 4 days.
It feels like it was an eternity ago, but it was just last Friday. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So almost a week.
Yeah.
Almost a week. But yeah, I mean, you had to sit down with Cutch. A lot of good quotes, a lot of good conversation with that. And I think what's going to be nice too is Tommy Pham had some recent quotes and discussion that also linked him and Cutch with where they're talking about like the future, the 2026 Pirates and whatnot. So I thought a great time to, let's bring you on. We can discuss that. First off, I just want to say Cutch is coming back next year, right?
I mean, I don't put it out of question. I mean, over the last 3 years, that's been kind of the question, right? Like after 23, you're wondering if he's going to come back for 2024. And then last year, you're wondering if he's going to come back for another year. It's the same situation now. If Cutch is interested, I think that it's happening. I mean, until he says, I want to go elsewhere or I want to retire, I think that the door is open for, Cutch to remain a Pittsburgh Pirate.
Well, speaking of opening up a door here, Jose, do you think that Andrew McCutchen wants to be back based upon your last conversation with him where he didn't exactly sound thrilled with the situation right now?
Yeah. I mean, I think that he does. I mean, you look at this guy. I mean, he loves this city. He loves this organization. He wants to be here, and he's wanted to be here the last 3 years. He doesn't keep signing these 1-year deals, for $5 million without, wanting to be in a situation. Obviously, he wants to win. There's no doubt about that. Like, I'm sure there's frustration there in terms of the results that they've produced over these last 3 years. I mean, you take steps in 2023 from, in regards to 2022. Last year was you're in the same position, 76 wins. And then this year, I think, has been a disappointment. You're worse than you were last year. You're worse than you were in 2023. So, he's in a position where, first and foremost, he wants to make sure that he is capable of contributing at a high level and contributing at a level that in which he can be a steady presence in the lineup and can, if given the opportunity, can play some outfield. He wants to make sure that he's holding up his end of the bargain first and foremost. And then there comes the are we going to win? Are we going to have an opportunity to be competitive? Obviously, the quotes that he was saying in terms of, you got to pay to win. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that more has to happen in order for this team to actually take the next step and to be competitive. And, he mentioned the pitching staff, how this is a pitching staff that is capable of doing big things. And, we've seen it this year. The pitching staff has, held up its end. They've done their job in terms of helping this team, be competitive in games. And, he knows that there's talent there, but more has to be done in order for this team to be successful in 2026.
Yeah. And, let's go back to the like himself, right? And he talks about like wasting a spot. I think what was misconstrued recently about like Cutch, some Cutch comments and quotes. It's not as if he's looking to get out or he has to do what he has to do. It's more of like he needs to make sure he's doing what he needs to do in order to be part of the solution instead of what is the current problem, right? So, obviously that's one thing we highlight here. I know he's not having the season that he's used to having, even a recent, right? I mean, he's a below average hitter, but thing is, there's not one current Pirate on this team that's above average. I mean, every single Pirate is below a 100 weighted runs created plus. There's not one Pirate that's at least about an average hitter or such. So do you also, in your personal opinion here as well, do you think Cutch still has what it takes to be part of the solution coming into next year?
Yeah, I think he's shown that he can still hang. At the age of 38, he still holds his own at the plate. I think the issue is, you talk about, he's one of the better hitters on this team. And that's the problem. I think that you want to be able to have a core and a lineup that doesn't have to rely on, a 38-year-old Andrew McCutchen to kind of lead the way. And it's not a bad thing that he is one of the, he's a veteran leader. Guys in that clubhouse, respect him and they take what he has to say and they listen. Like Leo Verpagero, for instance. Their lockers are, right next to each other. And, Pagero has talked about, in the past how, McCutchen is a guy who he's looked up to over the years. He's really a guy who has helped him along the way as a big leaguer. And, guys want him in there. Guys appreciate the fact that he's, doing what he's doing at the age of, 38 and not just on the field, but what he can bring off the field. So, I think that he's capable of still contributing at a decent level. But, you need more. You need more in this lineup. They're at the bottom of Major League Baseball in most categories offensively for a reason. And, I think that McCutchen has played his part and has done what you, I think, would expect from a 38-year-old who is at the tail end of his career. What you would expect from him on the field and off the field. But there needs to be more around him. And I think that they owe it to a guy like that to try and to put in every effort to put together a winning baseball team. Because, how cool would it be to see Andrew McCutchen finish out his career in the postseason and on a competitive baseball team?
That's what we said 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
We're still having the same conversation.
Right. Yeah. Just to touch on that a little more, like about him speaking about, I guess, wasting a spot. Do you get any feel that maybe it's something to do with just being a DH only, or because I think Andrew McCutchen would like to play in the field. I don't know if I think he touched on it a little bit, but do you think that's part of it as well, where he's just in this DH only role and it's kind of like my hands are tied here?
I think that he wants to contribute. This is a guy who just wants to be on the field or be in the lineup in any way, whether he's in the field, whether he's at DH, he's shown that even when he's in the outfield, he can, he's okay. He can still do it. He doesn't have the speed. He doesn't have, the ability that he had in his prime. But he could still hang out there. And I think that he's a guy who wants to help in any way possible. And, right now with, but they have 5 outfielders on the roster. So really there's no need, I guess, for him to play in the outfield. But then again, Brian Reynolds is getting time at DH. So I don't know. It's a tough situation in terms of that spot because, do you want to bring in somebody who's, going to have massive DH type of production, you know what I mean? Like rather than a guy like McCutchen who is he was going to put up steady numbers, but nothing like, crazy like he did, in his prime years. But yeah, I think in terms of wasting a spot, I think it's just, like I said, he wants to make sure that he's doing what he can to help this team win. And he's doing his part. And he's not just there to be a guy, he wants to make sure that, physically he's capable of doing it. And that, in his heart, at this point in his career that he wants to keep doing it. And I know, he said he still loves this game. He still wants to keep going. But there's still questions that he wants to ask himself and, still a decent amount of season left for him to kind of come to that decision.
Yeah. And I want to expand upon something too, maybe just hear your take on this. Before I do, I just want to shout out Jim and of course, Rob for the 5 gifted memberships each. Appreciate you guys, except for Jim. But so it takes 2 to tango. Like you said, we're talking about Cutch and the focus on Cutch, but like, let's take a step back and look at the team. It sounds as if, at least from 3 years ago, it was, Cutch is going to be here for as much as he wants. But we are coming at a point in time, as we talked, 38 years old. He hasn't really played the field much as it is, so you can only expect coming into next year, he's probably not going to play the field either. You would assume there's some declining skills, how much TBD, but also there's like declining skills elsewhere. Brian Reynolds, is he really an outfielder these days or going forward? Joey Bart hasn't looked good behind the plate. Is he going to still be on the team? And if so, like you can argue, is there even a spot for Cutch on this team for next year? Like there's a DH role and maybe it needs to be used for other parts of this team. Do you, and maybe, there's not really too much insight, but do you foresee a situation where maybe this team is saying, what, Cutch, we love your services. Maybe this isn't a good fit for us anymore?
I think that's always a possibility too. Especially it has been 3 years in which he's signed these 1-year deals and they've been willing to have him back. And I still think that willingness is still going to be there. But yeah, I think you have to, I think that's why there's going to be consideration, like either way, whether to bring him back or think, maybe we should move on and Cutch can go elsewhere and, have a chance to win elsewhere. I think either option would be on the table. But I think more so like I said, if he wants to be here, they're going to do whatever they can to make sure he's here. But you got to make sure that there's a team around him to be competitive and to, maybe even in other positions. If you want to put him at DH, that's fine, but you got to get that kind of typical DH type of production elsewhere. Same thing at first base with Spencer Horwitz. Like, I don't think Horwitz has done a bad job this year. I think I might be in the minority thinking like, maybe he was put in a tough spot just because he was like the main acquisition in terms of offense last offseason, aside from Tommy Pham, who is, the best hitter on the planet the last few months, whatever. Naturally. Naturally, you just kind of expected it would happen eventually.
Of course.
Same thing there. Spencer Horwitz isn't going to hit a ton of home runs. He's not going to provide really the production you would expect from your typical first baseman. But if you get that production in a different position, then it doesn't look, as bad, So I think the options are open as they have been really the last couple off seasons. Like I think that, last year in particular, last year was my first year on the beat. So it was kind of like my first off season. So first time dealing with, is Andrew McCutchen going to come back, and I think last year it was more of a, foregone conclusion. Like there's no doubt, like he will be back. It's just a matter of when, they sign him to the 1-year contract or whatever it will be. So I don't know if it's that much of a guarantee this time around. But, you know, I think that, like I said, if he wants to be here, you know, there's going to be efforts to make sure it happens.
Which again, I just want to highlight, you know, completely wild. Like you mentioned, last year was your first time on the beat, and already, I mean, big timing us from the get-go. Just to point out again, I mean, the first time, and just no, I'm too good for you guys. Just want to put that in perspective.
I am so glad that Nardo cut me off there, because that needed brought up again.
You know, I just figured I might as well just start it from the get-go and just make sure that it's known, you know.
I mean, Colin showed up.
He did.
Noah showed up his first time on.
To be fair, Jose's internet's working.
Colin's internet wasn't working?
Oh, that's cool. He doesn't watch us either. It's fine.
He didn't even know.
I did not see that part. I apologize.
All right, Tyler, let's just zoom through the rest of this interview and get him off.
No, it's fine. No, but to get back to your article with McCutchen here, the quote here, there's some things that have to happen, and obviously I would love to be part of that equation, but you got to pay to win, because it's not always going to be a team that doesn't spend as much that ends up in the playoffs. Very rarely does that happen. It does happen, but it does happen. It does happen, but it doesn't always happen that way. For us, it hasn't happened. There has to be that. There can't just be a shot in the dark of, we hope this happens. We got to go out there and make a push. Is that a shot at the front office ownership? Just maybe a warning shot? It almost feels like it has to be.
I mean, I think it's a statement of, you know, something needs to change. I think it's exactly what needed to be said, you know, and is there a better guy to say it? I mean, there are guys in that clubhouse that I feel like their words carry more meaning. And I mean, how can you not listen to those words and actually believe, like, yeah, this is impactful. This is something that needs to be heard. And because of the guy who's saying it. And I think that, you know, I don't want to say it was like a direct shot at anyone in particular, but like, I think it was a statement of like, this is how I feel. This is exactly how, you know, this needs to happen. You know, we need to do something to make change. And, you know, around that, he mentioned, you know, the pitching staff, and he's mentioned the fact that any pitching staff led by Paul Skenes, and also includes the likes of Mitch Keller, Jared Jones when healthy. You know, he mentioned, you know, obviously Bubba Chandler, Hunter Barco in particular. You know, that deserves to be supplemented by a good rotation, a rotation that is going to allow those guys to feel like I'm properly supported, you know, every fifth day. And if not, then you're just kind of, you know, it's going to waste, you know? So I think that he said exactly what needed to be said in terms of, you know, this is how we're going to be successful. This is how we're going to take the next step. And he wants to be a part of that. I mean, he was a part of those glory days, you know, the 2013 through 2015 teams made it to the playoffs. He experienced what it was like to play in the postseason. He felt the magic and the electricity of, you know, playing that wild card game at PNC Park. Like, he wants that back. And, you know, you can't blame him. You know, he wants to be able to bring that type of feeling back to the city. And yeah, I think that that was definitely a statement that you hope is heard by the right people. And you hope that, you know, the proper measures are taken to help this team do something in 2026.
Yeah. Now, speaking of statements and people talking about things, and again, before we get to that, thanks, Sean, for 5 more gifted memberships for the YouTube chat. Awesome stuff. We appreciate you all. So Tommy Pham actually was speaking quite a bit lately too.
Yeah.
Kind of wonder, we can ask this and get to this part later. Is he speaking more now because he's performing, or is he speaking more now because, I don't know, just feels more free or whatnot? But again, like you talk about Cutch stepping up and talking about things, talk about the future. I mean, Tommy Pham had some interesting things to say as well. Of course, it highlighted on the pitching staff. Like you said, like we have a playoff caliber pitching staff, right? And he talks about like they're close. he's been on teams that have gone from last place. I think he said to 95 wins and such, and that's kind of what he says he sees in this team. Like they're not that far away. Now, mind you, Cutch said 3 years ago, the reason he likes to come to Pittsburgh is because he sees that they're close, right? And he was in Milwaukee's dugout. He looked across and saw the Pirates and saw the talent there and felt they're close. So fast forward 3 years later, Pham's talking about a last place team that may be becoming a 95 win team. But yeah, like it was kind of, I don't want to say reassuring. It was not even like a fresh of breath there, but it was kind of interesting that Tommy Pham was saying that like
breath there,
a breath of fresh air.
What?
Whatever. Like to hear Tommy Pham as an outsider or not, like Cutch has been a big part of this organization to say something like that. And again, like Tommy Pham, it's not as if he's saying like he has a future here or anything like Cutch, like he's trying to vouch back. So I don't know. Like, what are your take on what Tommy Pham's been saying lately?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I don't know if it was, like you said, I don't know if it's because he's performing better. I don't know if it's because he knows he's going to be here, the rest of the way after the trade deadline and not getting, dealt. If maybe he is willing to be more vocal about that. But yeah, I mean, I was kind of surprised that, he was as vocal as he was post game yesterday. But I don't think he was wrong either. I think that everything he said was pretty spot on in terms of, they have the pitching. I mean, they have the guys in that rotation, now and in the future that can help lead this team going forward. But yeah, it was definitely interesting. Obviously he's a guy who's been in the league for a long time, and he's a guy that I think a lot of guys in that clubhouse rely on as well. In addition to Cutch, he's a guy that has played in some big games and, has played for a number of different teams and has done it. So I think that his words definitely carry some value as well. And, those are the type of guys that you want to hear from at this stage. You want to hear from some of the veterans in terms of, because they know, like Tommy Pham he's been on bad teams, he's been on good teams, so he's seen kind of like both ends of the spectrum in terms of like, what it takes. So
he's pretty much been on every team.
He pretty much has been on every team. Yeah. Probably less than, Edwin Jackson and, Rich Hill. But maybe not that much less. But so, yeah, I mean, he's he's seen the good and the bad that come with this game. So, yeah, I think you could take some value in the words that he says and, just trying to make sure that this team is in a better position for next year. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa has talked on it too, in terms of like wanting to be a guy they can rely on to help some of the younger guys the rest of the way. That's what some of these more experienced guys are kind of taking from, the rest of this season. Because yeah, you're not playing for the playoffs, but there is still some value in the remaining games to hopefully build towards the future.
So not to get, and I will get a little bit nitpicky here, or pitnicky as Donardo might say, but Tommy Pham talked about how him and Cutch are trying to get the team to buy into a philosophy that builds success. And he said a philosophy, not the team philosophy. And I know that's where I'm getting nitpicky here, but it's talking about grinding out of bats, like simple things that I think are just commonplace in Major League Baseball. Yeah. But is this something where these two guys are kind of taking it upon themselves here to push this thing? Or like, is this an organizational philosophy that we just missed the boat on for half the year? Or because I think you mentioned Jared Triolo's kind of bought in a little bit, or Pham mentioned it. And
yeah.
Like, what the hell took so long? Like, why is this now suddenly something we're pushing? Like, or is it just being brought up now?
Yeah, I think it's probably just being brought up now. I mean, I think, yeah. Well, why aren't you talking about this type of stuff in April, in May, or whenever Derek Shelton was fired? Like we have a kind of a fresh slate here. Let's kind of look at things in a I guess larger scope and kind of detail like what's gone wrong at this point. How can we move forward and be better? And They have been better since Donnie Kelly took over. Not much better. I mean, I think they're still 4 games under 500 under Kelly. I don't know exactly what it is, but they have been a better team over certain stretches. But yeah, I mean, they're taking the rest of this season to kind of make sure that these younger guys are embracing that philosophy. But yeah, it's something that shouldn't just be done in the last 2 months of the season. It's you had a period of time where you could make that even more of a priority, and it probably has. But yeah, I think just talking about it now, I guess.
Yeah, and I did find that interesting. It felt, because the way he was saying, like, Jared Triolo buying in, like you said,
Yeah.
it almost makes it sound as if like this was maybe a message, and it's like maybe now they're starting to buy into this, which I could also understand. Like, there's a new hitting coach, there's a new man, there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of different voices, and maybe it's like, hey, you know what, we suck. Maybe we should listen to these guys that have been here for a long time. Do you think maybe that is part? I think you kind of mentioned it, but do you really believe that's maybe what it really is? Is like, you've been saying this, maybe we should start buying into it? Because I also say this, I don't know when the buy-in actually came about, but one thing I'll say is 77 weighted runs created plus before the break, 90 weighted runs created plus after the break. That's a big difference. And that's one thing I think we've been kind of touting here for a bit of time. Like, this offense, because of the pitching, doesn't need to be an explosive offense. Like, if they could be slightly below, average,
they don't
they
even,
could be
they
like
don't
a
even need to be
92 to
average.
95. Like, they could probably be a playoff contending team. And so since the break, like, they've been at a 90, not quite there, but they're close. And this still isn't like a great roster. So, like, yeah, I mean, is this maybe more of like, hey, you know what? Forget you guys. We're going to finally buy in. We're going to come together. Thank you, Tommy Pham. Thank you, Cutch. Let's do this.
Yeah, I think that those are two guys that aren't on the coaching staff, but they're in a sense, like, you can kind of look at them as coaches on the field. Like, they're guys who we've said it, that they're guys that have been around and have done it. So why not listen to them? I see people saying to re-sign Tommy Pham, which, hey, why not at this point? But it's yeah, I think it's you mentioned Jared Triolo in particular, and I think that's mainly because with more of an opportunity now, like, he hasn't been terrible as of late. I mean,
I love that this is the bar we have.
but yeah, that is the bar, I guess, at this point. I mean, he's on his late Jared Triolo surge that we have seen the last 3 years, that we're just like, oh, maybe this is it for him, and it just never is. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think that I just don't know what else can be said in terms of, like, just improving the offense from within. There's always the talk of they want to be able to work internally. They want to make sure that they're improving internally before anything else. But yeah, it just hasn't happened up to this point. So, I think guys like Cutch and guys like Tommy Pham are trying to rally the troops and just make sure that they can, finish this season with some sort of positivity from an offensive perspective, and just try to be in games and do whatever they can down the stretch.
Just one more little point here real quick. We had Tommy Pham on one end saying that this team's not far away, basically, and we have Andrew McCutchen on the other end saying spend to win.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think it's a combination of both here, but I don't know. I guess which end of that spectrum are you leaning on here, Jose?
Well, I mean, I feel like they both, McCutchen says spend to win, but he also mentioned the pitching staff, just like Pham did. And I think that's the reason why they believe there is a chance that this team can, be okay going into 2026 and beyond. I think that's probably the thought of everyone. With a pitching staff like that, you can, build around that. I don't think they're, with a pitching staff that's led by Paul Skenes, like, I don't want to ever doubt a team like this, but there has to be something done during the offseason. Should have been something done last offseason to improve this lineup, because this year was supposed to be a year where you could build off of a second straight 76 win season. And instead you're taking a step back, and that's unacceptable for a team that has a generational pitcher like Paul Skenes leading a pitching staff that has so much talent in terms of young pitchers. It's not acceptable to, have a lineup that's at the bottom of Major League Baseball in almost every offensive category. So if they actually go out this offseason and do their jobs and make something happen, then 2026 can be interesting. But until they actually make moves and do what they can to hear what these veteran guys are saying and make the necessary changes in terms of bringing in bats that'll make this lineup better. There's really no one in this lineup that you look at it that instills fear, right? Like, I mean, even O'Neal Cruz, he can hit the ball far, but do you kind of look at him as a guy who
plus right now? Like, it is what it is.
Yeah. So it's just there needs to be more in order to make this team better. And I think a big part of it is, guys like Brian Reynolds and guys like Cruz, guys like they haven't produced this year. Like, they haven't done what you kind of expected them to be. Last year at times when this team was struggling, Brian Reynolds is a guy you could always count on to have, a solid at bat and put the ball in play and make things happen, but just not happening.
Right.
I can't wait to make a quote card about how this is unacceptable from Jose.
It's just not acceptable. That's all I get. That's
going to be the quote card tomorrow.
Well, no, that's good stuff. I mean, I did appreciate hearing the two vets come out and speak, and putting a little pressure on the front office in that sense, but also just hearing them talk about the team and what they think about it. And again, I thought it was really nice hearing about what Pham and Cutch are trying to do with the hitting and buying in and such, because, we've talked about the time and time again about veteran leadership and such. And sometimes you just need a voice that's not your coach. It's like the same thing. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the voice can't be your mom and dad, right? They're just too close to the situation. It needs to be someone else. So yeah, it's nice hearing that and seeing that maybe this is going to help out in some way. We'll find out, I guess, but
you hope that they're listening. You hope that, like I said, a guy like Andrew McCutchen, how can you not, take stock in what he's saying? And
if you're not listening to him, who are you listening to?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, thanks, Jose. That's all we really have, Ty.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just kept him an extra 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever.
It's all right. I got time.
Yeah, he owes us.
We made sure to get
I do. Yeah, now we're somewhat even. I will never dodge you guys ever again. Oh,
so he admitted he dodged us. Cool.
No, I mean those are your words.
Right. Well, awesome. Well, let everyone know where they can find you and all your work and stuff.
Yeah, follow us over at DK Pittsburgh Sports. Got a month and a half left in this season, so I'll have full coverage the rest of the way in terms of road trips and homestands. We got obviously a series this weekend in Colorado. Against Colorado. That I think there's a top prospect that might be pitching this weekend. So
Florentino got pulled today.
That was the big prospect news. Yeah.
Probably going to be him. Yeah, that makes sense. They need some hitting.
I kind of figured that there'd be somebody since Chase Sugar got optioned to Indy. So, someone's coming up.
Probably Florentino has that corresponding move. I can understand.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So stay tuned for Friday tomorrow.
Yeah.
For the big call.
Should be a good weekend.
Jose confirms it's Florentino.
No confirming this. We all know who it is. It'll be exciting it'll be exciting. What do you guys think of his role? You guys okay with Bubba Chandler in a bulk role?
I am.
I actually am as well. I think it's the best way
I
to use him.
I also am okay with Bubba Chandler to bulk roll. So
And
we might be in the minority in terms of that, but
we definitely are.
Yeah. You're still going to get to see him, throw innings. You're still going to get to see him get time on a major league mound. I think that's this last month and a half. That's what's important. So a guy who has struggled with command the rest of the way. So going to be good to see him at PNC Park this weekend.
Agree. Awesome. Well, Jose, thanks again. And always remember, let all you do be done with love. We'll see you again.
Thanks, guys.
See you in a year.
Appreciate you, Jose.
Bye, Jose.
Bye.
He's like, I don't know how to leave. All right, I'll boot you. Bye, Jose. But no, awesome. Thanks, Jose.
Jose was awesome.
Yeah, good stuff. So,
all right, time for everyone to tune out.
He led us right into a perfect transition because we're going to talk about Bubba here as well.
What a pro!
Yeah, he's awesome. He does a really good job. Take notes, Colin. But
he couldn't. His internet cut out.
Yeah, Bubba's getting the call tomorrow. He's coming up. Now it's been determined that he's going to come up and be like a bulk roll guy. Again, that's what he was talking about. What do we think about that role? He's not coming up here to be a starter. I mean, the guy is a starting pitcher. He's struggled in AAA quite a bit. That's why there's been a lot of discussion of should he come up, should he not come up, what's going on? Is this really service time manipulation, or is this just like, hey, Bubba's just not ready? He started off the season looking fantastic. Number 2 prospect in baseball. He's dropped a little bit on most lists. He's struggled a lot with command, walking a lot, not going deep into games. What's wrong with Bubba? Should he be here or shouldn't he? And it's determined now, after all that was said about him, that hasn't changed except for the date. It's now no longer before August 15th. He's coming up. But again, he's coming up in a bulk role. So even though we kind of stated here, I'll put it on you. Like, first off, do you think calling him up now makes sense? Like, should he be in the major leagues doing what he's doing based on what he's been doing in AAA? And then are you okay with the bulk role?
Yeah, he should have been up like a month ago, like a month and a half ago, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just start here. I think I've always been a little bit more, at least reserved on Bubba than the rest of the group here. I think there's a little bit of overhype with him, personally. Just flat out, I think there's some issues there. He's got warts. With that being said, I definitely think he should have been up a while ago. There were spots that I think they definitely could have used him. In regard to him being in this bulk role, I hate to say it, but I completely agree with the Pirates on this. And I go back to what I said about the Brewers how many times. Like, go back to whenever Mitch Keller went to the bullpen. Like, I love doing that with some of these guys here. And especially, I think Bubba Chandler's the perfect case to do it with, because you want to limit his innings for one. He's a guy that does have the issues of command. You want to let him learn how to get major league hitters out. Let him learn how to use his best stuff to get these guys out, and we can build off of that. You don't want to call him up and let him get lit up for 2 months. And then what? You're going into the next year trying to rebuild Bubba Chandler? I don't want to do that. So with that, I love the way they're using him. Put him in that bulk role, let him get guys out, because I think the stuff's going to be good enough to get guys out. I don't think there's a question about that. The question is going to be whether Bubba Chandler can get through 5-6 innings as a starting pitcher and not get erratic. I think this is the perfect way to use him. By the end of the year, yes, he's going to get some starts here. But I think this is best case scenario of calling him up at this point, even though I do think he should have been up before. But if you're calling him up right now, this is the way I would use him.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to start by the timing. You could certainly have said he should have been up a long time ago. But again, he wasn't really helping his case, because at the time you were talking about he should be up is the time where he started to decline. right? So like this inverse chart, like he should be here and his decline like it just got further and further apart, and he's just not performing at the level you want to see, of at least for a guy that's deserving to get called up. Now, obviously, also the team wasn't good. I mean, I think you can still make a case like it's mid-May, it's into June now. This team's still competing and such, and it's like, you know what? There's still just too much talent in there. We got to get them up. That passed. It wasn't good. And so it's like, well, do we really need to get him here in these struggles? And it's like now at this point in time, like a month ago, I honestly, again, like hear me out in understanding this. A month ago, I want to see him here, right? For selfish reasons, I want to see him here. You can make the argument, but it's like, you know what? It might be a disservice to him. And this again, hear me out. You're not getting major league pay for a month. You're manipulating service time for a month. But however, this kid has the talent to win Rookie of the Year. That's the potential he has. I'm not saying he's Paul Skenes. I'm not saying he's out there like Paul Skenes, but give him a whole year, he could win Rookie of the Year, at least place top 2. So I feel like it's almost giving him a disservice by bringing him up a month ago and not allowing him to retain his rookie season or eligibility next year, because now he's called up today, or I should say tomorrow, technically. He still remains to be a rookie next year. What does that mean? Well, obviously he'll get a full year of service time. There's no issue. They'll have more than a year because he came up this time. That's not a worry. But he now has the potential of earning $1 million for PPI if he places. Like, you're now making him eligible to win bonuses. What weighs more? A month's worth of major league pay or $1 million? It's the $1 million, right? So now it's like, hey, kid, sorry you sucked a little bit and sorry you've been down here for this long, but we'll give you now the opportunity to go win $1 million. Bet on yourself. Go do the damn thing. So that's why I really don't hate him being called up now at this point in time. Again, I think it'd be a disservice if you did, like imagine calling up on August 1st. If you would have waited 15 days, I could make $1 million next year. At that point in time, it's kind of dumb.
Right.
So I'm fine with it. But again, back to the bulk roll, perfectly okay. Because he is struggling. This allows him to face major league at-bats, put him in a little more advantageous scenario. Let him develop. Like, let him get with the big league coaching. Let him get with those guys around him. You're the one who keeps bringing up the Brewers, situation all the time. Like, Corbin Burns started out as a reliever. The guy was good. But also, too, it's like there's Paul Skenes, there's Mitch Keller, there's Oviedo now, there's Burrows, there's Ashcraft. Like, there's also guys that you want to see in the rotation that are there. Has Chandler earned the spot more than those ones to kick them out? No.
Yeah, but I think there were points where you could obviously argue that he was outperforming some of the guys in the rotation. But back to your point about, like, in June, made a lot of sense to call him up. Once we got to a certain point, it made no sense to call him up. It's a weird situation with Bubba Chandler here. And with all that being said, like, this might end up being the best case scenario for how it all works out. You could get the PPI bonus here, get a draft pick out of it if he performs. And again, I think what they're doing here by putting him into that bulk role is you're allowing him to figure it out without trying to figure it out on the fly next year. Because he's going to be up on opening day, you assume.
Right.
As long as everything goes well here.
Or at least like half well.
Right, but if he were to come up and be in the starting rotation right now, and he gets blown up like Mitch Keller did, we might have some problems here. But I think allowing him to do it out of the bullpen, I have pretty high hopes that it's going to work out fine there. Like, the guy's got good enough stuff that he's going to get guys out. I'm not really worried about that.
Allow him to develop. Like, development, we miss out so often. Development still happens in the major leagues. Yeah, it's not a great time. Like, he wasn't really doing much at AAA. It's a huge jump into the majors. But like you said earlier, this guy has the stuff. Can this guy get major league batters out? Absolutely. Like, he has all the talent and all the stuff to do that. Can he harness it? That's what's to be determined, right? And he wasn't doing in AAA. I'm not here to tell you like now magically he will do in the majors, but I think this is something that you can still work on in the majors. You're going to have the major league staff around you. You're going to have Paul Skenes around you. You know, like you're going to have I think a better situation to help that. I believe in him and I believe he can do it. He's actually proven that he can do it for a substantial amount of times. I don't know what's going on right now, but he has proven that he can do it for in a elongated period of time. So maybe they can help bring that back.
Also, he just gets to be surrounded by Paul Skenes.
Right.
Like, that's not a bad thing.
No.
You get to learn from the best in the world and be around the best in the world. See how he prepares. See how he goes after hitters. See everything he does. How he works with a catcher. The game plan. Everything. Why not? Now's the time.
One of the most confident people in probably the entire planet, Bubba Chandler as well. So like that's the other thing too. I'm not worried one bit about him coming up to the major leagues and the potential of him getting shelled and we've ruined this kid's confidence. He's gonna turn into a pumpkin now. That's not Bubba Chandler. And I think like I don't know personally, but like he appears to be the type that he wants to step up to the challenge. So let him step up.
Obviously, he's starting opening day next year.
Right. As he texts Paul Skenes. But that's also alluding to here is let him. He's talked the talk. You heard the Noah quotes. You know, he wants to be here. So you know what? Walk the walk now. You're here. Yeah. You wanted this. Step up to the challenge. Here's your challenge, kid. That allows him this opportunity now. This is a big opportunity for him. And again, like I would rather him finish out the year facing major league batters now, continue this development at the end of this year to help him transition into next year. Because this team's going to win. He's going to probably be a big part of that as well.
I'm also just happy he cut that stupid blonde mullet.
I'm
God, that was ugly. God, I hated that.
It's like kind of back-ish, right?
No, it's not like dyed blonde. That's really what it was. Like when he dyed it blonde, it looked like Quinn Ewers. That looks so stupid.
Yeah, we are well aware how much you've hated that mullet.
God, I hated that mullet. That's actually part of why I didn't like Bubba Chandler for a while.
That was the main reason. Don't say part. That was the main reason.
It was a big part of it. Yeah, it was a big part of it. Like, that's why I don't like Quinn Ewers either.
You're like the anti-Moneyball. Is his girlfriend hot? You're like, is the mullet terrible? Get him off the list.
He's got a mullet.
Get him off the list.
Get him out.
Get him out.
It's just so dorky, but whatever.
I mean, actually, the mullet goes into that theory. Like the kid's
he don't
tons of confidence. Like he's rocking the blondish blonde mullet. Yeah, he's confident.
Ridiculous.
I don't need to worry about that. But anywho, yeah, again, I'm excited. We're going to finally see Bubba Chandler. We've been calling it for a long time, and he's going to be here. So not in the traditional role you thought, but it's going to be a bulk role. And that's the thing, too. Like, Don Kelly has shown that he is going to use those guys. I mean, we talked about Carmen Majinski the other day, how he's not, like, since he's coming back to the bullpen, like, he hasn't been used less than 5 outs. Most cases, it's 2 to 3. We've seen Ashcraft go in there multiple. Like, he uses, and he's had 2 at his disposal the entire time. Ashcraft's now in the rotation, right? So he only has 1 with Carmen. Now this gives him another bulk inning guy. I know Andrew Heaney's there also, but I'm sure they're going to go to Bubba a little more than Heaney for that role now. But like, again, like this now gives him 2 guys at his disposal for the bulk role, which he's shown that he likes to use. And you have guys like Oviedo, Burrows, Ashcraft that you're probably watching innings with, so like you're going to use a bulk guy probably more than normal. And with that being said, Mitch Keller's second half Mitch Keller right now, so there might be some more reason for bulk inning guy. And the times that Paul Skenes can't get out of the 5th, there's use for maybe bulk inning guy. So I think there's gonna be a lot of chances for Bubba Chandler to showcase what he can do the rest of the year.
Yeah, and also tomorrow just might be a fun day because I'm all in on Braxton Ashcraft right now. And if there's a good chance we get Bubba Chandler after that, tomorrow could be a fun day.
It could. Yeah, Ashcraft looks good. I mean, it's such a talent. We've talked about his talent as well. He's stayed relatively healthy all year. He's showing the talent. Now he's in the rotation. Yeah, exciting stuff.
Again, I don't trust the Pirates on literally anything ever. But I think that they did right by Ashcraft with how they handled him. I think they're doing the right thing with Bubba Chandler here. Now
I agree. Cool. All right. So
sometimes just read our comments and it makes me laugh.
Yeah, I know. I've been laughing quite a bit tonight, which, yeah. Anything else that you want to talk about with Bubba?
No, I mean, we're going to have a lot to talk about with him, so let's see what happens.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about, like, with Jose, we're talking there as well.
I thought we were going to talk about Anna Benson.
We'll leave that to the comments.
Okay.
We'll leave the Anna Benson discussion for one of your stories that you post on IG and Facebook.
There we go.
It can be a Remember Anna Benson.
Here we go.
Carousel. Anyways, so yeah, I think again, like going back to the Cutch and stuff, just with you and I talking here, there's maybe some pressure being put on ownership, with Cutch talking about that. Do you think something's going to really come of this?
No. With all this being said here, Donardo, thinking about this, and I don't know. I don't know here. And my mind's going to change on this a lot of times. And I understand Andrew McCutchen said he needs to be better as well. You can't have a DH that's a below average hitter.
Correct.
Andrew McCutchen needs to be better. With that being said, yes, I want Andrew McCutchen back. I want him to retire a Pittsburgh Pirate. If he's going to continue to play baseball, I want him to do it here. And I agree with everything he said while talking to Jose. Everything he said is very valid. He's part of the problem as well here. You can't have a DH that has a 95 weighted runs created plus with no power. Let's be honest, he can't play the outfield anymore. He's 38 years old. Next year, he's not going to be able to play the outfield again. Again, I want Andrew McCutchen to play here as long as humanly possible, but we're getting to a point where he needs to be better. If he is going to be here and this team is going to be a playoff contender, Andrew McCutchen needs to be better. And I don't know if it's left in the tank right now. The power's been a little bit zapped. I'm not trashing Cutch at all. I'm not. I want him here. But he's not being part of the solution right now. Offensively, he's not part of the solution.
Yeah, I mean that is fair. And again, the same point. Literally, no one is part of the solution right now.
No,
that's also a huge problem.
So let me ask you this, Leonardo. If you have a choice between Tommy Pham coming back next year and Andrew McCutchen coming back, because I don't think you can roster both, which one are you picking at this point?
I don't really like that question. But if it comes down to one, God, I don't know.
I know. Because I think we both have more faith in Tommy Pham being a better baseball player next year.
I mean,
but he is not Andrew McCutchen.
Tommy Pham plays the field. And honestly, he's played it well this year. Like, it's not even like he just plays the field. Like, he can play a position. He's actually played left field well. He's been an asset there defensively. Do I believe in this second half? I mean, hey, I keep talking time and time again. Like, if there's an actual fundamental change, something actually different in a player that leads me to believe it, opposed to just like he just randomly playing better now. There's something to believe in. The guy can see again. Like, he literally couldn't see the first part of the year. He was bad, and now he can see, and he's been good. Probably somewhere in between. I don't think he's gonna be like one of the top 20 hitters in baseball, but you're giving me an either or scenario. In just baseball terms, I might say Pham. I might say Pham. But
Like if you take the Andrew
I don't
McCutchen
think it
game
has
away,
to be an either or. Like,
why?
scenario
Why do you?
here.
I don't want both. I can't have both.
No one's saying don't have both. But
Okay, so neither.
You can have both. If you're getting Tommy Pham, it's because you believe he's a really good hitter. And if you don't, then upgrade Tommy Pham. Go get a really good hitter. That's what I'm alluding to. I guess what I'm saying is Cutch wants to be back. It's a lot easier to bring guys into this team that want to be here and are going to sign here. Cutch has to be better. Cutch also, something you and I were talking about here as far as expected stats and unluckiness and whatever, that's something, a problem with the team. Cutch is the 27th, if you want to quote, unluckiest hitter in baseball. Ironically, O'Neill Cruz is 22 and Brian Reynolds is 19. Something the team is just like the team, their expected stats don't match up with their actual stats. That's a problem. Not sure what it really is. Maybe it's also expected WOBA is just flawed, right? But whatever it is, like Cutch's profile actually also profiles better than what he's producing right now. He's been above average all this time. Like, I've been pounding the table. You bring back Cutch. He's been above average even to this year, up to not too long ago, right? He was above average hitter. And my point is, at $5 million, again, Tommy Pham was $4 million, and he was a bad player.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to get someone who's an above average hitter at $5 million at that price point, and especially if it's Cutch, like, you bring him back because there's a lot of guys that are worse than him. Like, upgrade those positions. So, but the difference is right now, Cutch isn't an above average hitter. How does he finish the year? Like, this is what does make a difference. Up until a month ago, again, like, it's no question. Every year, Cutch gives you exactly, he's an above average hitter with some pop, gets you some walks, he gets on base, like, he's been a good hitter. And I know it's not like the DH who goes out there and mashes 20 plus home runs and hits, but like, no one on this team is. Cutch is still a top 3 hitter every year. So why don't, instead of worrying about upgrading the number 3 hitter, why don't you worry about upgrading the number 9 hitter? And that's why I say, because that number 9 hitter, what's going to cost to upgrade, that's going to be more than $5 million. So keep the number 3 hitter here at $5 million and make him the number 7 best hitter. Like, that's where I've always been at. Make the guy who's the 3rd best hitter number 7, because you've improved the bottom feeders. I think there's more to find out. I think you can find a place for him here. I think also that he's kind of been an everyday player, maybe a more part-time role. Maybe it's just lefties next year. You're finding a way to give him less time, maybe. But I do think there's a place for him to be on this team next year and still be a competitive team.
Yeah, there is, but I don't think there's a place for both. How many corner outfielders that are just average do you need? And not even average, because Andrew McCutchen is a below replacement level player.
And that's what I'm saying. If you're bringing Pham back, it's because you believe he's not average. If you believe he's average, then you don't bring back Pham. You need to make Cutch the 7th best hitter on the team.
Okay.
Bringing
what if I
Pham
give you a third option, Denardo? What if I give you a third option? Starling Marte.
That guy?
He's a free agent. And he's
Starling Marte these days is a DH too. Speed's not there.
Yeah,
He's not the
it's
Starling
better than
Marte
Cutch.
of old.
He's not,
But he
but neither
has
is Cutch.
I know, and he's had these weird seasons where he's been bad. Like right now he's playing really good. I love me some Starling. That's probably a guy, unlike Cutch, where you feel like if I need someone in the outfield, you probably feel better about Starling Marte than Cutch.
Sure do.
I love me some Marte. I don't know though. If you're saying replace Cutch with Marte, I would have
It's
to do a
tempting.
pretty deep dive on that.
But I mean, like, how many? That's the
Jim
thing. We're
says
talking
bring
about.
Polanco back too.
We're talking about so many corner outfielders that just don't really move the needle in a organization that just has a bunch of guys that can't really play a position and can't hit. Not well enough to really pencil into a lineup every day. Like at some point, we're going to have to cut ties with some of these guys, and you're going to have to get guys that can actually hit and play the field.
Right.
And I know
again,
Tommy
like
Pham's
what I'm alluding
been
to
good out there, but
is, do you need Canario here?
oh God, no.
Okay.
They haven't needed him here. already.
IKF is going to be gone. Is Joey Bart here? Again, Joey Bart and Henry
Probably.
Davis is a combination. Like, do you upgrade somewhere there? Yeah, there's other places. Again, Jared Triolo. Now, I'm gonna say my pieces off season about Jared Triolo, but again, the idea of Jared Triolo still being here is because you think Connor Griffin's going to be here before June. If not, again, Jared Triolo, like he can't be a starter. He's a backup. So like, what are you doing at shortstop? What are you doing at third base? Like there are other positions that you can upgrade. There's Ono Cruz in center. There's Brian Reynolds in a corner, and there's another corner. Is it Tommy Pham and Canario? No. So upgrade those. There's third base. You need to upgrade that. There's shortstop. You need to upgrade that. Like there's other places that need upgraded, I feel, before you even get to Cutch. So like do that. Make Cutch your 7th or 8th best hitter because you've used the funds that you're saving by having a $5 million person at that rate to go get those guys. Because if you upgrade DH, if you go out and say, like, let's go get a real DH, that costs $10 million. So what are you doing at third? What are you doing at short? What are you doing at corner? That again, like that's what I'm alluding to. If you keep Cutch there, he might not be the best DH. That's fine. Now use those parts and pieces and that money to get a real third baseman, to go get a real corner outfielder that's going to cost money. That's why I say Cutch at that price point makes sense for this team, even if he is just a slightly above average hitter.
The problem is he's not. That's the problem. He's not.
I know. And again, that's why I say, like, we talk about how Reynolds finishes the season, how Gonzalez, like how Hortz finishes the season. Well, how Cutch finishes the season also matters too. That could change my opinion on things.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the fairest thing to say is that we're going to find out a lot not a lot, but we're going to find out enough over the next month and 10 days or whatever it is, where it's a lot of decisions will be easier, I think, at that point. Because if Andrew McCutchen finishes the year continuing to not hit the baseball,
now
I might be on here just, I'm sorry, like, we can't bring you back.
And that's what I've said time and time again. As long as Cutch is doing this, I'm bringing him back. The argument is always, you need better than that. You need better than Jared Triolo and Brian Hayes at third base. You need better than IKF. It's short. You need better than whatever's been at first base this entire time. Now Horwitz is turning around, so maybe Horwitz is it, right? You need better than what's at catcher. You need better than Tommy Pham and Canario and Jack Sawinski. Like, you just go down this list and like, no, you need better than them. Cutch could be fine if you improve all of those. You right? Like, that's where I'm at.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Stop worrying about trying to improve the third best hitter. Worry about trying to improve 9 through 4.
No, I like all that's totally fair. I was just on the boat of I don't know how you roster like 3 corner outfielders. Like, I know Tommy Pham plays good defense this year, but that's going to go away really quickly.
Probably.
with Reynolds, Cutch, Pham. That's 3 guys that wouldn't be able to play the outfield.
Yeah.
Pham probably could, but that's what I'm getting
And I
at.
will
Like,
say,
at some point, you're going to have to cut some of these guys out.
that's what worries me some. I shouldn't say worries, but like that's the argument here. And again, the argument now comes into existence because it took them potentially Cutch's 4th year being here to finally be competent. That
Potentially, you think they're going to be confident next year?
It took this long to get here, and in doing that, Reynolds isn't the outfielder he was. You know, like when Cutch was here 3 years ago, Reynolds is an outfielder. He can be a DH. Now, like, what do you do with Reynolds next year? You know, like, are you okay with him being in a corner outfield every single day? Or is this a situation where it's like, you know what? We need you to DH some more. And if that is true, like that, who's he cutting into? Well, we know because it happened early this year, right? When he couldn't throw because he was injured. He was a DH guy. Cutch wasn't playing.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, because Reynolds is now declining and not a good fielder anymore, like, this is why the argument I feel like exists and is a true discussion more than just all the other noise.
Yeah, we'll talk about it a lot in the offseason, I'm sure.
Oh, we will.
And my mind will change a billion times. So, Bubba Chandler tomorrow.
Bubba Chandler tomorrow.
I'm
Not
just going to
putting
keep
that comment
remembering.
up there.
Bubba Chandler tomorrow.
Not putting that comment
Without the
up
mullet.
there.
Without the mullet.
Thanks for the $2, Jim Rosati, who says Nick Solak is the answer. Does Jim have more PTO to take? I hope so. Jim not being on the show is good stuff.
No. Yeah. Love you, Jim.
All right, Ty. Anything else that we want to discuss?
No, because we'll be back tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day because the season doesn't end.
Twice on that next day.
God, the season never ends.
Oh, it does. 34 more games. Not that I'm counting.
We're not counting at all.
No.
And it's not that I don't like baseball. I'm ready to restart.
Yeah, it's not, and I'm gonna watch every game, and but like I'm already.
Oh no, they've killed me. They have absolutely murdered me.
I'm off season mode already.
Yeah. I do need a minute from baseball. I need like a week.
And again, like it's not that I'm gonna watch every game. I love doing this, but I'm in off season mode. The games that are watching it again, this is all just for next year information purposes.
Yeah,
that's all this is.
I am really ready for a fresh of breath air.
I hate you. We're out of here. I deserve that. All right. Well, everyone, we do appreciate you. Tomorrow, there is a game. So, Tyler, log on to FanDuel. It's a night game. So, probably around 2-ish, something like that. Ryan's going to have his lock.
Mm-hmm.
Find out what the lock is. Go get yourself some money.
Ate it all day, baby.
Ryan is here for the people. Someone commented on our Twitter, like, this guy needs to retire. Whoa. Buddy.
No.
Buddy, do you understand what you're doing here? People's lives are at stake, right? I look at the 401k. You look at the stock market, it's up and down. The one thing that we know is Ryan's going to be wrong. Ryan's here for the people. So go watch Ryan's Lock tomorrow. Go on to FanDuel. Do yourself a service. Can't wait. So until then, we're out of here. We love you all. Thanks for all the memberships, everyone. Thanks for the $2, Jim. Appreciate Jose for coming on. And if you haven't already, like, subscribe, join us. You can be a member too, 99 cents. You can be in our Patreon as well. The link's below, $4.99 a month. We offer some pretty cool stuff. We've given away some tickets, which I apologize for giving away tickets. Sorry you had to take them, but we give away some merch, some cool stuff as well to some of our Patreon members and winners every month. So join that if you want, be part of us. We appreciate all that you do. And until then, we'll see you later.
Peace out.
Anything else you want to say, Tyler?
No, peace out, Girl Scouts.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, that wraps up this episode of North Shore 9. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whether you're listening on the podcast or catching us on YouTube, if you enjoyed the show, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It really helps us grow. And if you're listening on the podcast, a quick review goes a long way in helping others find the show. Plus, be sure to tell a friend about us. There's always room for more here in the NS9 community. And for those looking to support us a little more, consider joining our Patreon, become an MVP member, and get exclusive perks while helping us continue to bring you more of the Pirates content you love. Thanks again for all your support, and let's go Bucks.